Hey guys, this is my entry for the Kinetic Rush 3D challenge, and I just wanted to share my journey. A few years ago I studied visual effects at university, but since then I mostly do video production, motion design and video editing. A few months ago I decided to start learning Blender, so the amount of experience I have in that is this amazing donut tutorial which you might be familiar with. For those who don't know what the Kinetic Rush challenge is, you have to take one of these templates from this run cycle and create a world around it and render it within about a month. For my idea, I did a little bit of brainstorming with some friends and ended up landing on a D&D theme, which is one of my interests. I landed on the jump animation because I wanted my character to jump over a mimic who was about to attack. First I started by blocking out the scene. In terms of the assets that I wanted to use, I used a lot of 3D printing files because people would 3D print these and use them on actual boards, so it was kind of a perfect way to capture the feeling of playing on a real D&D board. I added a gelatinous cube encounter at the end just to spice it up. I've credited the creators of those assets in the description. I animated the dice rolling. I didn't want it to feel too light so it doesn't spin around a lot, so I wanted it to feel big and heavy. You might have noticed, hold up, that's not the jump template. I ended up swapping it for the slide one because the mimic asset that I used had a lot of space underneath it and it was kind of a jump attack, so it made more sense to use the slide in the end. I swapped the dice I used for the rigid body simulation for an actual dice. Give me that nat 20. Then I had to figure out how to retarget the animation from the template onto the character I was going to use. After that I added the surrounding room and I added some torches and a DM behind the screen watching the character. I also added some trees just around the edges of the board and I ended up swapping out a few of the buildings with some taller ones just to add a little bit more verticality to my scene. I added this cheeky little owlbear just watching the character run past. And then I hit render for the first time. It was okay, the scene was quite dark and didn't really pull your attention to the person running in the foreground. The dice and gaps between the tiles glow green just to kind of show that the character succeeded in their dice roll, but I wanted to exaggerate that a little bit more, show off that it was a 20. I ended up adding a little 20 that glows above the dice after the roll to exaggerate that. I added some lamps along the fence where the character was running just to pull your attention towards the front a little bit more. I added some camera shake when the dice hit the ground, and I turned the camera to the left side of the scene just to follow the action a little bit longer. I added some volumetric fog in the scene just to kind of pull your attention more towards the front as well. I moved the gelatinous cube encounter in the middle of the scene. Sorry, owlbear. Where the gelatinous cube originally was, I swapped it out for a cemetery and added a dragon. This motherfucker's going for a TPK. I rendered the scene one more time and I got some feedback to add some fog or mist rolling on the ground just to give it a bit more dimension, so I re-rendered the scene with that. After getting a color grade and some sound design, we have the final export. For my first big project in Blender, I'm quite happy with how it came out. A massive thank you to all my friends who helped me with the projects, giving me feedback, input, really helped me focus with what I needed to work on and what I needed to do to get the scene to where it ended.